VGK is 8-2 through the first 10 games. Jack Eichel with the OT game winner against Winnipeg last night. Hang that Sully in the Louvre, and tricks or treats for VGK. All ahead right now, coming up on Locked On Golden Knights.
Your Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas, and we appreciate you making us your first listen each and every day. Our podcast free and available wherever you get your podcast. You can find us on Twitter. I am at Tony Dasco. He is at TD Chris G, looking fresh with his brand new Locked On hat. I'm wearing the old school one myself, and you could find us at Locked On VGK as well. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Locked On VGK. And Chris, as soon as Jack Eichel, right, he possesses the puck, he goes around in that patented circle, goes around the Winnipeg net last night, final seconds of OT, you could start to see his confidence building. You could start to see his momentum started to build. And he just gets on the ice with fresh legs. This is what happens in the game. Skates around the Jets' Mark Scheifele, who was absolutely tired, I thought, and he puts the puck past Connor Hellebuck, who just stood on his head the entire game. The game winner, just 6 seconds remaining in the contest. Scheifele had been on the ice for about 3 of the 5 minutes in overtime, and you could tell that Eichel really did sense that he was tired, and he talked about it after the game. And I just felt that, again, we saw the very best of Eichel. In the past, he circles, and then I'll try to dish the puck right out in front of the crease in the slot area. But last night we saw Eichel pretty much the best of Jack Eichel as he takes matters into his own hands.
No doubt. And we've talked about this how many times, Tony, since we acquired Eichel. He's got this thing where he goes behind the net, goes out to the blue line, sometimes goes back around looking for a pass, looking for a play, looking to do something. And in overtime, when you only got 3 players on the ice for each team, you got a little more space to work with. I don't know if that goal is going to happen in a 5-on-5 or even a 4-on-4 scenario, but very good point about how long the Jets were simply stuck out there for. And early in the overtime, the ice was tilted the other way. We had a real long shift for all 3 of our players. It seemed like a good 90 seconds they were out there. And I felt Winnipeg was going to have a good opportunity. Adin Hill was able to deflect a save over the glass, which Bruce Cassidy has mentioned in the past about Adin Hill's hockey IQ being up there and able to read, situations and things like that. So maybe, stick tap to Adin Hill for being able to bail out VGK early in that OT to create the opportunity for Eichel to do what a $10 million generational talent is supposed to do.
Okay, but 3 of his 4 goals against Winnipeg. Okay, he needs to start picking on other teams, that's for sure. And then, Bruce Cassidy felt afterwards that VGK did not possess the puck enough early on in that overtime period. That was of a concern. He didn't seem like he was his jolly, happy self after the game. He just was very critical, I think, of the Golden Knights getting so many opportunities, not being able to put the puck in the net. He said that those pucks will start going in. He talked about Haig in the slot missing an open shot. He felt a couple of times they were post, and he thinks that those shots will start going in. He's not really upset about the way the team played, but I thought that he was a little bit too critical about this team, especially in overtime last night, and not possessing the puck enough.
So a couple of things. We'll start with the overtime comment first. Overtime is, for the most part, not entirely, but most of the goals you see in overtime are not from set plays where a team possesses the puck inside the blue line and is able to, have a Jack Eichel do what he did. A lot of them are 2-on-1, 3-on-2, even breakaway transition situations. So the puck possession in overtime, personally, I don't put a lot of stock into that because I don't know if those are the best opportunities a team is going to get, because late when there was, I think, about 90 seconds or 60 seconds left, there was a 2-on-1 that VGK had that I thought was as good as or better than all the scoring chances than Winnipeg had. Going back to Cassidy, so this is what the Golden Knights need. First and foremost, yes, 48 shots, only 2 goals to show for it. But this was not Pete DeBoer's 48-shot Vegas Golden Knights. There were many opportunities, and this is a game where if the Winnipeg Jets squeaked it out, I don't think this is the type of game that leaves you thinking, oh, you and I talking about shots going right to the goalie's, crest and things like that. This was not that type of performance whatsoever. Connor Hellebuyck, you have to give him a ton of credit for the game that he played. As far as Cassidy's comments, this is what the Vegas Golden Knights need right now. Yes, they won the game. Yes, there was a lot of opportunities, but in the same breath, this game could have been 5-1 as well if VGK could have just done a tiny bit better. And of course, if Hellebuyck doesn't go all Braden Holtby on Nick Hague.
Yeah, for sure. And you talk about Hellebuyck, stands on his head last night, kept Winnipeg in this game. Again, he stops 46 of 48 shots. I think that there were 51 shots on goal in the San Jose game the other night, I should say. And, he kept Winnipeg in this game. And so when Bruce Cassidy was in Boston, I think last year, he said about this Jets team, he said, one of their most vulnerable areas is in the slot. And so VGK did try to get the puck as much as possible in the slot area where they leave things wide open. And VGK does score twice in this game inside, Stone and Eichel. And then Cassidy also doubled down, Chris, made a similar remark before Sunday's game. And overall, they did have a lot of grade A chances.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, like I said, there's a big difference between last night's game and all the crazy 40 to 50 shot performances of Pete DeBoer's VGK teams for the last 2 years, especially last season. So many times, I'll state this again. So many times, Tony, you and I have watched highlights of last season's games, and it didn't seem like there was a lot of creativity. It was lazy wristers from the slot with absolutely no traffic in between. No traffic between the shot, the shooter, and the puck. And a shot like that will bounce off me and you, Tony, if we can see it all day. There's a lot more creativity. There's a lot more talent. And I didn't get a chance to watch a lot of the first. I listened to pretty much the first and second on the radio. The third I caught on TV. We were supposed to go last night and we changed our mind. We went to, we did the doubleheader on Friday, did the HSK on Saturday. By the time Sunday came, we're like, no. I tried a last second attempt to sneak into the media row, but that was already all handled. So I'm like, okay, I'm taking a night off. I'm tired. But, just going back through everything, the chances were there all game. This was a very good performance by the Golden Knights, but Cassidy is also going to keep this team honest because, yes, they won. They needed to get that win, but they were one shot away from losing. Winnipeg bounced a couple off the outside of the post, the outside of the net late in the game. They very easily could have lost this game. And again, 1 or 2 points, things are going well right now. Yes, VGK is 8-2, but Cassidy is keeping them grounded right now. We can't expect to win 64 games and get 128 points this year. That's not how it works. We got a 5-game roadie coming up. And if we can achieve 3-2, even 2-3 on the road, that's not the worst thing to come back to next Saturday. I think we host Colorado St. Louis the following weekend and to get it back going again.
Yeah, they're on the road for 10 days for VGK and the longest stretch to date for this season. Jonathan Marchessault also, we have to point out, had some grade A chances. Some high danger opportunities through 2 periods. A key play in this game, since we like to be balanced here. I thought that there was a trip behind the Jets net. Chandler Stevenson on Morgan Barron.
Nope.
Jets, They just quit playing at that point, though. And it's like in Stone scored again off of his own rebound. Good awareness once again, because you did see, right? You sensed that Winnipeg had stopped playing there, right? They thought that there was going to be
lost. So a couple things. I'm glad you brought that up. So Winnipeg definitely lost some wind out of their sails. Now, at face value, when you watch that in real time on the camera, sure, it looked like Stevenson got the stick into the Winnipeg Jets player, like right between their legs, causing him to trip. When you watch it closer, that's not the case at all. The stick was there, but the player on Winnipeg was going down already. He didn't make contact with the blade of his stick. The stick just happened to be there, but again, my knee-jerk reaction when I saw it, and again, if you're the ref who's on ice level, you get a better view than anything that we get. But when you watched the slower version of it, it did not look like the stick being there was the reason the player fell down. Even I was watching the Winnipeg broadcast in the third period. At first, they were a little bit critical of it. And then when they showed the replay in slow motion, they said, all right, the stick was there, but not necessarily the reason why he tripped. And the Winnipeg team actually gave a very nonpartisan, if you will, a very neutral perspective, even though they were, the home team and appeared to get job. But no, good job by the officials. I think it was Kazari out there last night. So local hometown VGK person. Maybe that's not the best way to put that, but
oh my goodness, more home cooking for this team. They get every single break. They
goes
played
Tony.
a team last night.
Tony, I think you avoided all bad comments last week, and it took you exactly 14 minutes. So good job.
Okay, 3 out of 3 games, 4 nights, back to back. So all this other stuff, they're just playing teams on the tail end. It's just not fair. It's just not fair. We'll see. Things will balance out. 5-game road swing coming up. And let's talk about the game on Friday over the weekend against Anaheim, the worst team that they have faced so far this season. This Anaheim team I thought was worse than we even envisioned. And LT stopping.
They just beat Toronto last night, Tony.
What's that?
They just beat Toronto last night.
I know they did come back. Okay, we'll point to some positivity there. But VGK had gone 5 second periods, let's say, without scoring the goal. And then they wind up scoring 3 in the second period, the middle period in that game. Back to their old ways last night. They didn't score a goal. Riley Smith, he scores his 100th goal for VGK. All 3 of the Misfits now have 100 goals. That's really cool. And then John Gibson pulled after just a couple of periods. The Ducks 0 for 2 on the power play. At that point, they were 0 for 21. And again, I just dig in deep to some really odd statistics. Okay, so in that game, VGK only allowed 5 rebound chances. It's pretty good, right? Is that good or no?
No, it's definitely good. I wasn't sure if you were done there or not, but absolutely only 5 rebound chances against anyone is going to win you a lot of games.
Yeah, we're not seeing a lot of rebound chances, is what I was sort of
right.
getting.
No, exactly. Yeah, right.
Oh, you have your new hat, locked on Golden Knights hat on.
It itches. It's weird.
Yeah.
I got to call someone about
Mine's
this.
a little crispy. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
so
going back to, are you still going or am I good?
No.
Okay, sorry. It's Monday, folks. Give us a break. We're still, the coffee hasn't set in fully for me yet, at least. So that was a vintage John Gibson performance. And me and my son were at the game. That was the backside of the doubleheader. And honest, we didn't get to watch a whole lot of the second period. My son wasn't feeling well, but I was in the midst of talking to my friends around us, basically pointing out this is a vintage John Gibson game. Gibson had a very good first period, was able to shut VGK down, and Anaheim did have some chances as well. LT needed to make some important saves early in the first to set the tone, if you will. But I made the comment that said John Gibson is going to look very good for a long time, and then the floodgates are going to open. The only thing I was wrong about is that it happened in the second period instead of the third period. And of course, Gibson ends up getting pulled, and 4-0. Really, this was an NHL team against a low-level AHL team is what the vibe for that game was. But John Gibson is either one against most teams, either a shutout or 1 goal and an awesome performance, or 4 or 5 goals and pulled by the third. That's just kind of how his career is. And that's not all on John Gibson. He's playing for Anaheim, a franchise that's been very up and down, mostly down for, really since they won a cup in the early 2000s.
Yeah. And Keegan Colasar had the flu. He was out sick. And so we saw Jake Leschyshyn for the first time. And that face, you've got the bitter beer face going on. Leschyshyn spent more time in that Anaheim game in the penalty box than he actually did on the ice, I think. So are we going to see Paul Cotter come back again soon? Is Bruce Cassidy sending a message to him? I think we'll see him on this road swing. He has to be playing.
It's all fair. And well, he doesn't, if Colasar comes back, I think they go back to their 4 lines the way they are. I would argue if there's one spot where I would slightly disagree with any move that Cassidy has made so far, it was not simply slotting Paul Cotter in place of Colasar. I don't understand why you're going to change the dynamic of 2 lines now instead of just 1, because line 3 was kind of starting to find their way, right? Line 3 did seem to start getting some chances. Kessel was getting some points. And then Now you're, moving players around. Nick Watt can play on any line on this team. Let's be clear about that. But I like the chemistry of Nick Watt, William Carrier, Colasar, and I got to think Paul Cotter can have an equal-ish performance of Colasar. I'm not knocking Colasar. I know I'm critical of him sometimes, but I think Cotter could come in and bring the same energy, have the same number of hits, and the same level of offensive opportunities that Colasar can create. Maybe this is also a way to help prep another player decision, get him some minutes, get him on the ice, and maybe this is the type of thing that has more long-term rewards than short-term, if you will. And yes, maybe this is a message to Cotter. Maybe he's not doing enough in practice. Maybe there's a reason that Cassie didn't do this, or maybe this is Cassie just playing some mind games with a kid. Who knows? It's, there are some skeletons in his closet for that.
Okay, and one final note on the Anaheim game. The Ducks come out and roll just 11 forwards. And of course, they're going to have to double shift. At first, though, early on, with that extra defenseman on the ice, right, at times, we saw VGK just trying to solve things, figure it out. But that didn't take too long. And then that eruption of the 3 goals in the second period, right?
Yeah, we know how the 11-7 works. We hate it. We like nothing about 11-7, like nothing about 11-6 and not having a full roster. But hey, hashtag McCrimmel plan through 10 games. Hashtag McCrimmel plan. It's working just fine.
Coming up next is the VGK defense or the goaltending better this season. We'll get into that discussion next, right here on Locked On Golden Knights. BetOnline.net is your number one source for betting football and the start of this new basketball season. Find all the latest player developments, team matchups, news, podcasts, and in-depth analysis on each and every game. And as always, BetOnline remains your continued source for all your sports wagering information with live betting and up-to-the-minute scores for every sport that's out there. The fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite games and events, including NHL and MLB, MMA, too many M's, boxing, and golf. Head to the website today. Use your mobile device to learn a lot more. Bet online where the game starts. It's not really how you start, Chris. It's how you finish there. So I got the tagline in there. Welcome back, Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas on this Monday morning edition of Locked On Golden
Feels
Knights.
like Monday. Happy Halloween.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, that's right. That's kind of scary. So is today the actual trick-or-treat day here in Las Vegas? Because I get confused.
How about this? Happy Nevada Day. Today's actually Nevada Day.
It's officially Nevada Day. Okay. And so is this the day where I have to go hang out in the sports book because the kids are knocking on my door? Because that's usually how this transpires around here.
Just put a bucket out front and say, take one only, and see how long that lasts, and see how long it takes for your house to get egged.
Well, thanks. And thanks again to everyone for making us your first listen every day. You could find our podcast wherever you get your podcast. Please subscribe to Locked On VGK, our YouTube channel. And last night we saw Hilly, they refer to him in net for the VGK. He improves to 4-0. We want to talk about maybe a comparison, which has improved more, the defense or the goaltending. We know that Logan Thompson is 4-2. One of the things I liked, again, was LT throwing down Frank Vetrano in front of the net. So he's not, putting up with anything there. But I wanted to talk about, so your debate that you would like to have, or conversation, is about whether the VGK defense is more improved or the goaltending. Obviously, the answer here has to be both. But Hilly is 4-0. Is that legit when he plays 2 teams struggling coming in on a back-to-back, and then Winnipeg, a team that plays 3 games in 4 nights? Is that legit? Come on, man.
Listen, 4-0 against NHL talent, I don't care who it is a very noteworthy stat. I don't care what the situation is. These are NHL players, whether it's a back-to-back or 4 games, 4 days off it. Is it as sexy if he was playing Colorado, Edmonton, and Calgary, 3 out of 5 nights? Fine. I'll certainly waver on that one to you. But just looking at these numbers, 10 games, 3 of the games we've given up 3 goals, right? And then 2 shutouts. And then the other 5 games are 1 and 2 goals. You're going to win a lot of games like that. And if the argument is Did the defense improve or did the goaltending improve? Both have improved, no doubt. I'm going to give the nod to the defense simply for the less opportunities and cleaning up the loose change out there. LT and Hilly are having remarkable seasons. I'm not taking anything away from them, but I think our six defensemen, who have really been a unit now for quite some time, I think this is pretty much the fourth season, if you will, where we've had the core of this defense together. And then you add pieces like White Cloud and Haig, more recently. That's a very good defense right there. And I know something like people are mentioning Alec Martinez like might get traded or something. Just stop that nonsense right now. But, I certainly will give the nod to the defense for less opportunities for the goaltenders to have to face, less high danger chances, and able to clean up what LT and Hilly leave in front of the nets.
The rebound control for the goaltenders, much, much better, much improved. Of course, Robin Leonard couldn't bend down to stop, a rebound there. And, I think the defense is doing a really good job. And this is part of Cassidy's system, right? Where he did say from the outset, he said that the defense is going to help out these young goaltenders. And I think they've really lived up to all their expectations, limiting shots on goal, 2 goals or less in 7 of the 9 games. Their 1.70 goals against average is first in the National Hockey League last time I looked. And the one thing that I'm seeing here, noticing a lot, is I was trying to find a statistic on the amount of goals that are being scored for the opposition on deflections. And last year, too, okay, VGK might have put some bodies out in front of, say, a Robin Leonard or a Brossois. But what they were doing was creating chaos for their own goaltender, right? Because teams were shooting through VGK players out in front. And now it seems as though they've cleaned up a lot of that area. But, getting back to that, our team scoring clean goals, again, Bruce Cassidy saying not giving up the cheap goals, not giving up the cheap goals. Again, all positives. But again, this is a reflection, I think, of the defense in front of the goaltender so far.
So we're at the point now where, 10 games in, you think back to some of the goals that were scored and, the announcer, he'd like to have that one back, right? That's key for, that was a terrible shot. You should have saved it. And VGK, I don't think has had any of those goals yet. Maybe the worst goal that was given up was the one last night where the Winnipeg, I believe it was the defenseman, just takes a rocket of a shot from the circle, and then the rebound is cleaned up and they score. Like, that's not a great goal, but that's a goal that happens. And that goal might have been the worst goal that VGK gave up all season. So think about that for a second. Think about that for a second. If that's the worst goal that VGK has given up off a rebound, kind of an odd angle situation, things are going just fine. Things are going just fine. Will that continue for another 72 games? We hope so. But there's going to be some moments where the team will struggle, and we'll probably talk about this more in segment 3, I think. But there will be some trying moments, and some choices left to be made by Cassidy. One, whenever LB comes back into the picture, and however that's going to shake out.
What is going to happen then? I'm so curious to see how they're going to play the goaltender.
Let's save that for segment 3. But I'll lead you into that one in segment 3. How's that?
Okay, that's pretty good. Did you see Shea Theodore plus 11 leads everyone in the National Hockey League, and he was plus 6. We were texting back and forth the other day. He was plus 6 last season. So Shea Theodore, hey, I'm guilty of saying he was turning the puck over too much, and the fans were getting frustrated with him at times. But no doubt, that's a very good sign that the team is scoring a lot of goals when he's on the ice.
His game has really improved right now. For a defenseman that takes many chances rushing the puck, there's times you'll see him on the front side of a 3-on-2 or a 2-on-1. So for a defenseman of Shea Theodore's offensive capability to be that high in the plus minus category is extremely notable for 2 reasons. One, it shows he's taking the right chances, not unnecessary. Go back to his series. I believe it was against the Dallas Stars in the conference, it was the conference finals in the weird bubble year and stuff. He had a lot of bad turnovers against Dallas, and just in that entire playoff in general. And it seems like he is cleaning up his game a little bit. He's taking the right chances and also give a nod to the system, whatever it may be, as far as whatever happens when a defenseman rushes, but you have to look at the entire picture. So yeah, good on Theodore. You know, he's a defenseman who quietly is working himself into maybe being, you know, I want to say, oh yeah, like a poor man, you know, Cale Makar type, in the sense that he's going to put points up. He's going to get a lot of assists. He's not, you know, he's not in the same category as Cale Makar. Let's be clear about this, but an initial comparable that's going to come to my mind who has the ability to score and stuff, you know, that's what he can strive to be, I guess.
Okay, coming up next, it is our edition, our version of Trick or Treat. We'll pose a VGK question, and then we'll go back and forth, and we'll banter about whether it's a trick. Are we tricked into believing something, perhaps, about this VGK team, or is this a treat? Is this a team that is legit? We'll talk about that when we return right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Thanks for making Locked On VGK your first listen today. And now for your second listen, high and tight with that haircut, okay? Now make your second listen game-to-game NHL, every moment, every top performance, every result. Locked On Game to Game covers every game across the NHL with local analysis and only Locked On, something that only Locked On can deliver. Follow Game to Game on Locked On NHL, available on the Odyssey app, on YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast.
Hauser.
Welcome back. What in the world am I looking at right now?
It's Halloween, Tony. I'm having fun. I know this is tough for you sometimes. Bowser. We're the Mario family. My son is Mario. My daughter is Princess. My wife is Luigi. That's a tough one to pull off. She did a good job on her mustache. And yeah, so we're having fun, Tony. We're having fun.
Just in time for Movember. The missus with the stash.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm not the Movember. No, that's not.
I saw you more as a mullet guy. You should go to the mullet arena and wear your mullet down.
Oh, we got to get. We'll definitely have a discussion about that this week.
Hey, please make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube. I was just taking it back there. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On VGK. And we appreciate, again, everyone tuning in. Chris with that thing on his head. I thought it was, okay, there you go. Now that looks better. Yeah, that's cool. VGK has won, let's do trick or treat. VGK has won 8 of its first 10 games, Chris. Is VGK a good team? It's a team that has defeated a combined record for their opponents of 27, 33, and 9. Are we being tricked into believing that VGK is a good team, or are they a treat for this NHL season?
I think it's definitely more on the treat side, 100%. We can only play the teams that are on the schedule. That's the first thing, right? So we can't compare to what other teams are doing, but you look at the nature of the way Tony can't get over this Bowser
I can't
right now.
No, it's beyond belief. Yeah.
Good. I love it. Perfect. And then goal achieved right there. They are winning the games in the right way. They're not just getting by most of these teams. Even Winnipeg last night, they just got by them, but you look deeply into that game, the chances were there. Connor Hellebuyck was amazing, but I would lean more on the side of treats, that this is going to be a much more competitive team than we maybe originally anticipated.
Okay, trick or treat. VGK has $16 left in cap space. Treat because they can't outthink themselves. All right. Bruce Cassidy's transparency, trick or treat.
Oh, that is a treat beyond belief right now. The fans, you go on the Facebook boards and stuff like that, for whatever reason, they've wanted this. And I like this. I enjoy watching Cassidy talk, and I think it radiates through the entire locker room. I think it's fun, and we really have much more of a pulse, I think, on the chemistry of the team and the synergy that exists, not just between Cassidy, but even all the way up top to his relationship with McCrimmon and Foley right now.
Okay, Pete DeBoer revenge tour, trick or treat.
Trick, go away. Just stop talking, DeBoer. Just stop. Just Dallas is doing well. Just focus on Dallas. That's it. I know this week someone's gonna say something about Vegas and it's gonna come back, but just get over it, man. Get over it.
Cup and 6, trick or treat.
I'm still going to lean towards the trick side for now, but we can have another conversation in 15 or so games.
Robin Leonard probably won't be back in a VGK uniform. Is that a trick or a treat?
No disrespect, but that would be a treat because things are working right now. Again, the synergy, the chemistry is there. And Leonard, a new start with another franchise would be just fine for him. I think I'm assuming he would welcome that, and I think I would smile if he did move on to another franchise. If he came back and broke it off on us and shut us out in T-Mobile, I'd stand up and clap for him. I think it'd be great.
Danny Webster of the Las Vegas Sun this past weekend did an interview with Bill Foley. And for the first time, we see where Foley says in that interview, we don't know if Robin Leonard will be back. And this is the first time. So they're sending out those signals here in Bill Foley-esque style. And Foley also said that Robin Leonard hasn't had his second hip surgery yet. He's still recovering from the first. So that's going to be a very long path ahead for Robin Leonard. VGK has depth right now, Chris. They're relatively injury-free. Is this a trick or a treat?
I mean, obviously that's a treat, whether it's going to last or not. There's going to be some adversity. It happens to every team, every season, every no one gets through a season scot-free, and that's not going to change for us. But 10 games in, our only man games lost are from the flu.
Okay, Aiden Hill. I'm going to go back. Aiden Hill 4-0. Is this a trick or a treat? Do we believe that he's a strong goaltender after all those issues he had in the preseason? Again, 2 wins against teams on the tail end of back-to-backs. He gets the easy path, okay? And then he also wins against Winnipeg, playing its 3rd game in 4 nights. Trick or treat?
Treats. I mean, he could only play the teams that they're putting him out there against. And it's not just about who he's playing, but he looks the parts, right? We talked about early in the preseason, right? We compared Aiden Hill to Robin Leonard, and Aiden Hill has improved. He needed the time on the ice to get his coordination, to get his speed, to get his energy, whatever it may be. Aiden Hill just needed some time on the ice. Aiden Hill in the preseason looked like the injured version of Robin Leonard. Again, I'm not knocking Robin Leonard. I'm simply stating Robin Leonard was injured and looked very slow at times last season, as did Aiden Hill. Now Aiden Hill looks like the healthy version of Robin Leonard that the VGK originally traded for. That was phenomenal in the regular season. He took like 10 games plus to actually lose a game on home ice or something like that. Was solid in the playoffs. You go back to games 6 and 7 in the bubble against Vancouver and the performances that he had. So Leonard is a fantastic goalie when things are going well, and Aiden Hill is very comparable to a healthy Robin Leonard. Healthy.
Willie Karlsson, 4 goals, trick or treat? Willie.
I mean, I was gonna hit you with a trick or treat on Willie, but that's certainly a treat. I mean, he's on pace for roughly a high 50s, could even get to 60 points based on his current pace right now. I think he's 4-3, if I'm not mistaken, 3 assists. Trick or treat to you, Tony. Trick or treat. William Karlsson is living up to expectations as a line 2 center right now.
Trick.
I don't think it's going to last.
No, I don't think it's going to last. Just watch him skating up and down the ice. Seriously, honestly, okay? Teams aren't marking him again. He missed those wide open nets last year. A credit to Willie Karlsson. He's starting to connect and score goals, but watch the way he skates up and down the ice. Why don't they guard him at all? Seriously. Just watch him. Like,
it's Bruce Cassidy's system. There's
but no one else goes unaccounted. No one else goes unaccounted for like that. Hey, Bill Foley wants to get into the NBA with the franchise here. He wants to buy into it. NBA franchise says he's building things up with the local G League Ignite here that plays at, of course, the Dollar Loan Center in Henderson. Is this a trick or a treat?
I thought a trick. And not because of what Bill Foley wants to do, but I thought Bill Foley didn't want anything to do with the NBA at first. And I thought they really didn't want the NBA inside T-Mobile. And, now we have, I guess the Bill Foley's MLS dreams are starting to come apart because he's not happy with the amount of money it's going to cost. So now insert Bill Foley into the waiting list of looks like 5 other groups trying to get their hands on an NBA franchise. And Trick, nothing against the NBA. I'm not going to go back to past things that have happened here with NBA, but just trick in the sense that, he's got his soccer team, he's got his hockey team. Let's be cool with that for a little while.
Okay, and I just want to be perfectly clear about William Karlsson. He should be a 30 goal or more scorer. With all that talent around him, he should definitely be a 30 goal scorer. Absolutely. And I just want to be clear. I don't think that fans understand that. And I think, to me, it just, my expectations is that he scores 30 every year, but he's going to need to make up for the past few seasons after season one. He needs a 60 goal season. Let's face it. Okay. VGK's second period woes. Will this continue? Is it a trick or a treat?
You're asking if it will continue. Is that a trick or a treat? I think the answer is treat. And I say that because I think they will continue if I got the wording the right way.
I don't know. I didn't even know what I was trying to say.
Fair enough. What you're saying is, are the second period woes going to continue?
Yeah, that's
moment, Tony, yes, I am with you that I think there's going to be some struggle in the second period. Going back to what you're citing about the teams we've played and the scheduling, Anaheim, fine, we got right against Anaheim. Everyone gets right against Anaheim right now. And Winnipeg was 0-0. So not necessarily a second period woe in that game. But, maybe we should have had a little bit more. Again, we can, in 5 games from now, the 13 days when they come back from the roadie, we can certainly reassess the situation. I'll give you a trick or a treat right now.
Okay.
If you have 2 goalies, you don't have 1 goalie. VGK might have 3 goalies and not have 1 goalie. Trick or treat. Do the Vegas Golden Knights have a starting goalie? Trick or treats?
Yeah, they do. It's Logan Thompson. And it's absolutely a treat that Logan Thompson is the number 1 goaltender.
Is he?
And he lost the 2 tough games, by a goal apiece, really. And hey, I asked a question this past week. What game do you feel was the best win of the 8? I threw that out there. Okay, is it they beat the Kings, Chicago, Seattle, the Jets twice, Toronto, Sharks, and the Ducks?
If you're asking me, I'm going to say the San Jose game, because that was a tough game. That was a tough game in the sense that San Jose is San Jose. They're going to play us tough every single time. Phil Kessel,
tail end, right?
Tail end of a back-to-back. Phil Kessel breaks the record. So you have all sorts of emotions happening. It's tough to come back down from all of that. And they had a terrible second period. But then the third period, they just came out. They got, I think it was Theodore scored an early goal in the third, if I'm not mistaken. And they absolutely ran away with that game minutes after the third period started. So I think the San Jose game was the best and most important victory of the season so far.
Trick or treat. We've got a couple left here. VGK's power play, is it improved or not? Trick or treat?
Treat. It feels better, even if you don't score a goal. As long as you are getting chances and creating momentum, it's a successful power play.
It's only successful. Why? Because Mark Stone now is the bumper. Cassidy system, is it working? Is it a trick or a treat? Cassidy system, is it a trick or a treat?
Treat, rate, and 2. No discussion.
For my man, Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas. Have a happy Halloween. I don't know where to go from here. We appreciate you all tuning in. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you tomorrow right here on Locked On Golden Knights.